Uh-oh. No, no. No, no, not now, not now. No, no, come on, come on. No, no, no.
Yo, that guy's making a G-Man video in there. You guys get it? Because his videos are shit. It's been a while since I've been truly excited for a game, and I've eagerly awaited Fallen Aces for years now. I actually included it in the first ever indie games list video I did all those years ago, and it's an absolute pleasure to say that this game is incredible. There are a few issues I have with it, which we'll touch on in a second, but if you're wondering if it's worth the $10 they're charging, then the answer is yes, and the game is a steal at that price. So without further delay, let's get into the video.
My head. What time is it?
So for the people that aren't aware, Fallen Aces is New Blood's newest addition to their incredible arsenal of games, and instead of continuing down the road of the fast-paced boomer shooter, the developer has opted for the more immersive sim route that has a very heavy emphasis on player freedom in the form of letting you decide how to approach combat, and if you even want to at all, bringing a gorgeous art style, beautifully hand-drawn cutscenes, immaculate level design, intricate and personalized mechanics, catchy music, professional voice acting, and an engaging story all wrapped up in a mafia theme. Fallen Aces has cemented itself as potentially being one of the best immersive sims out there.
Hey, I wouldn't stand so close to the edge there. I saw one of them dock hands lean over like that, and a shark just flung out of the water like a goddamn jack-in-the-box and dragged him in. Zip, boom! God! Very cautious.
I'm not going to dive into the story because it's something that I don't want to spoil for anyone, but I can assure you that just even with this one episode, there is actually substance here when it comes to storytelling. It isn't told to us vaguely by scattered notes around the world. It's presented to us through the characters you'll meet, the interactions with the world, the subtle dialogue between the goons.
You got no friends because you're ugly, and you smell, and you're a dickhead.
The incredible performances from all the voice actors, and it's in the beautiful cutscenes that stitch the incredible levels together.
Is that right?
Yes.
Speaking of the levels, one of the main wow factors to this game is how incredibly detailed and intricate the level design is. And I cannot emphasize enough how much it encourages player freedom. There are dozens of different ways you can approach every encounter in the game, and the game doesn't offend you by having objective markers or waypoints telling you where to go and what to do. You can press tab, check your objective, and away you go. There's no hand holding, the game just says, yeah man, have fun, do what you like. It's a total playground.
Back around like that.
I promise you, when you load into a level and just look in front of you or approach a certain area of the map, there are going to be numerous different entry points, and it encourages you to think outside the box. One of the things I love most about games like this, and immersive sims in general I guess, is that it constantly makes me ask myself the question, am I meant to be able to do this right now? Does the developer want me to be able to get over this fence, or am I meant to use my glue gun to get up here right now? And most of the time, the answer is probably yes. From what I've seen over the years from developers, they love that shit. They love seeing the goofy things their player base do in their games.
Does not seem obvious where that is coming from. Can I pull it while I'm on top of it? Oh? Okay, wait. This can't be the way you're supposed to do this. Dude, we're actually doing this. There is actually a 0% chance that that is how we were supposed to get over here.
But these levels aren't just fun to navigate, they're also an absolute treat to look at. Everything feels alive and authentic, the art style is obviously gorgeous, it's boasting scenic views, dark alleys, industrial settings, and charismatic infrastructure filled to the brim with detail and personality, without it being too noisy. These levels aren't overstimulating and confusing to navigate, the pathways and subtle signposting give the player a little nudge in the right direction, without without outright telling them what to do. And I think that's what constitutes brilliant level design. The level design has to communicate the developer's intentions, and Fallen Aces does a brilliant job at giving you a complete sandbox of tools to use in any way you see fit.
Who's this guy? Let's go, pretty boy.
But it does have a couple problems holding it back from being a perfect game, in my opinion. Keeping in mind that this is early access and these things could change within the week for all I know. The first problem I noticed is that the guns are way too common. The way Fallen Aces works is that you only have 3 inventory slots and a singular item takes up 1 slot. So if you want to carry around an extra magazine for your pistol or even just an extra bullet, you're going to have to use an inventory slot for that, which means you won't be able to carry a med kit or an axe or another melee weapon in that slot, yada yada yada. But with how common guns were, I didn't feel the need to carry around extra ammo because I knew if I walked 10 meters in any direction, I was gonna find another gun. So it took away any sense of inventory management and planning. And because of how common the guns were, stealth also felt like an afterthought, because why would I go to the trouble of sneaking around the place and conserving ammo when I could just whip out the gat and start blasting? Stealth is just an option for the people that enjoy it, I guess. Whereas if there were far less guns around, I would take inventory management far more seriously and conserve ammo, or choose to take a melee weapon or even a med kit in its place. Now, I played on normal difficulty, so this could entirely be specific to that setting, but in my eyes, normal is typically the intended experience. Speaking of difficulty, the enemy AI and variation could use some work in my opinion. Throughout the whole first episode of Fallen Aces, you'll be fighting the same 4 to 5 different enemy types, and normally that wouldn't be a problem at all in my opinion. I mean, look at a game like Prey. I didn't feel like there was a massive amount of variation in the enemies, but that game had a much more punishing gameplay system where you couldn't always blast your way through the levels. There were consequences to your actions, and some of the enemies were ones you actively wanted to avoid. Whereas in Fallen Aces, every enemy can be brute forced into submission by spamming your attacks and dodging. As fun and as smooth as the mechanics may be, I think the game would have benefited if the enemies were a little bit tougher. They should dodge more, block more, counter-attack you if you mess up. The combat is very up close and personal, and it would make sense for the game to be way more of a brawler and not be afraid to punish stupid play.
Gotcha like that? Just one man. Come on, we can take him. Come here, you dumb ho.
Again, this is early days of the game's lifespan, so these things will most likely be addressed, but just keep that in mind when you jump into the game. Besides those very minor issues that I personally have with the game that I'm sure are going to be patched out within the week anyway, Fallen Aces does a lot of things well, and it is worth far more than the price that they're charging. There's not much else I want to talk about because I'd be going into spoiler territory, and I try to keep my reviews as spoiler free as possible. So I'm just going to close this video with some life advice. Remember to always